Wow. When I was little, I thought that in the future, astronauts would eat only pills. A pill that contained spaghetti, a pill that would contain a chicken with roast potato, a pill with salad, and a pill with coffee. Well, in reality, things are very different from this. In reality, what's happening now is that NASA is putting out a program to build a greenhouse in outer space in order to provide fresh tomato and fragrant basil, colorful fruit there in outer space that would grow in the soil with air, water, sunlight, and nothing else. Paradoxically, I have to tell you one thing. Well, why do they do that? Because astronauts, believe it or not, are people. And people need real food. Because it's the only food that satisfies our senses and also builds our body, our physical, mental, and spiritual body, and connects the man with the man itself, and puts the man in connection with the earth. As I was saying, the paradox is that here on planet Earth, things are very, very different from this. Today, what we eat contains more food-like and non-food products than ever. What we find in our food today contains drugs, chemical compounds, plastic, silicone, rubber, tar, and what's happening is that all this is seasoned with natural flavoring. This alienation of food is transforming the act of nutrition into an act of mutation. As you can see here, if that goes back, it goes two back. Okay, it's turning this natural circle of feeding, man feeds earth, earth feeds food, and food feeds man, into this. That's too much. That's far too much. That's right, okay. So why do we do this, and how did we get so far? Basically, in order to allow mass production, high availability to standard, and also gigantic revenues, food has become, 100 years ago, a commodity, and is treated by the international market just like any other byproduct. The majority of our food is designed and produced by chemical and pharmaceutical industries, bioengineering firms, and large corporations that own patent on our food, on the food genes. Well, this lacks in trust. It lacks in quality, and it lacks also in safety and security access. Our food is too often made with unknown ingredients and come from unknown sources. Now you go. Doesn't go. Now it goes. Show the video. Okay, that's the video that was shot when we first found out our first discovery, and we found out what's in our food, and that's myself with a hair like that, you can tell. And the other one is Tim West that I will present later, and the other one is Sarah Roversi, who's sitting down here in the audience. Well, as I was saying, too often our food contains unknown ingredients. That's how we found out. But the question is, what are we eating? That's the question. I believe that what we are experiencing now is an outdated system that is exploiting obsolete ideas, and it's turning this planet unhealthy for the humankind, unhealthy for the animal and vegetable kingdom. And what's happening is this system is misleading, and it's a delusional system that keeps polluting the planet and producing only diseases and death. But can we change that? Yes, we can change it. With the Future Food Institute in Bologna, with the Future Food Tech in San Francisco, the Institute for the Future in Palo Alto, and the Rural Hub in Calvanico, Salerno, we cooperate in running hackathons in order to analyze the food system in every part and make proposals to government and companies to rethink the structure and the method of food making and make it more sustainable. As food hackers, we generate a positive impact on four main assets: culture, economy, society, and the environment. As culture is concerned, we believe that as a community we have the duty and the right to preserve our local culture. And in a global perspective, global innovation must be rooted and grounded on the local history. So we aim to bring innovation, yet keeping a very strong basis on our heritage. As far as economy is concerned, we guide companies through the food world in every direction, analyzing all the impact made on the local growth and the job creation. Society, we know that food has an important social impact, therefore transformation is the key characteristics that makes food a highly challenging innovation field and as a driver for new social change. Here we go. Environment. Well, future can be the field of growth or the land of collapse. Considering how climate change is influencing the crop growth and how many people today have little or no access at all to daily food, rural innovation philosophy has been put into action worldwide to make food central for human development. And let's get one thing straight. Food comes from fields, does not come from supermarkets. That's the idea. That's the idea. Food is a common good. Food is a shareable wealth. Food is a human right. And food is an instrument of love, therefore is a peacekeeping tool. We have to take advantage of the fact that being food is central for human being, it makes a big hit on the medias. And also, food production and consumption can make a big transformation in transparency if operating on big data. Also, digital storytelling is transforming completely the idea of food and is allowing the most remote rural area to rethink modernity as we know it. And here we go. Eating is a political act. Shopping means voting, so every one of us is involved into that if you eat. And also, everyone can take action into that by just changing the way we eat and by asking the same question I asked myself. What are we eating? That's the question. So I invite everybody to use disruptive innovation to rethink modernity, to rethink a different perspective where farmers are the greatest social innovators on the planet. Therefore, let's cultivate innovation with these land guardians and make this a better future for all. Thank you. One other thing. All the work I do here in Italy has been inspired by a man who's younger than me, but therefore it doesn't matter, but he is my mentor. He lives in California. He is the first one who invented the food hacking and therefore the first food hackathon. He is the founder of the Future Food Tech. Please welcome my brother, Tim West.
Nick Difino. Grazie, grazie. Thank you, sir. A tough act to follow. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. It's an honor. It, in a lot of ways, is humbling to be an American standing here on stage speaking to such a big question as what is the future of food? And I'm not going to pretend to have the answers, but I would like to share with you my story and a theory. And at the risk of oversimplifying a very complex question, let's begin by looking back. In July 21st, 1969, Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. This was an amazing feat. And it was beautiful because 500 million people were able to witness this thanks to a new technology, the television. And at that time, every boy in the world wanted then to become an astronaut. Voila. At about the end of World War II and the beginning of the space race, we saw women experiencing a cultural shift. They had participated in the wartime effort, and they were growing tired of the gender inequalities that existed. And what happened is they began to reject the traditional roles given to them in the kitchen. So what happened? It created a void and the new home of the TV dinner. As a TV dinner entered the United States, it entered because there was a desire for convenience. It began to displace the family dinner, and it came because really Swanson's was delivering a value proposition that was acceptable to the consumer at that time. And the downside was that as the production increased, the quality decreased. And as an American growing up, I didn't ever learn about food in schools. I didn't know where my food came from. And by the time I got to college, I didn't even know how to cook. But that's when I had my first food epiphany. Food poisoning. Who here has had food poisoning? It's a terrible, terrible experience. And when I had food poisoning from eating a bad taco when I was 18 years old, I thought I was going to die for 3 days. But I was fortunate. My identical twin brother, Chris, actually was in school, in culinary school at the time. So I called him and I said, Chris, I need to learn how to cook. I need to be healthier. How do you cook chicken? So lo and behold, I got a pan, I got some chicken, some salt, pepper, and some good Italian olive oil. And voila, I made myself my first chicken. And as I went to sit down and enjoy this chicken, there was a knock on my door. And it was my friends from down the hall. They had smelled my chicken, and they wanted me to share. So before I knew it, I had 10 people in my room. We were all enjoying chicken together, and I realized that if I learned to cook, I'd be healthier, I'd make more friends, and really it was a skill that I could travel with. And I believe that travel is the best form of education. So that's when I started to look back and think, what did my father do? What did my grandfather do? And my father was a wise man. He's been a lifetime in the water industry, and I thought this is really wise because water is one of those things that can never be outsourced and it will never be obsolete. And my grandfather, his father, Arch West, he worked for Frito-Lay's, and he is widely credited as inventing one of the world's most popular food snacks, the Doritos tortilla chips. And at that time, I decided I wanted to go to culinary school, and I wanted to work in food and water. I joined my brother at the Culinary Institute of America, and I was training to become a chef. And it was in a gastronomy class at CIA that I actually learned about the slow food movement for the first time. And I enjoyed the concept so much that my brother and I even started a club for students that would also, it was like Slow Food CIA. And it became one of the most popular clubs in the entire school. And from there, I realized that I wanted to go on and I wanted to learn how to feed as many people as sustainably as possible. So after leaving the CIA, I went to the St. Regis Hotel in New York, and we did amazing meals, up to 600 people at a time, $250 to $750 per person, really elaborate. And I learned all of these amazing systems for feeding people, but what I realized is that it wasn't sustainable for me. The people I was feeding weren't feeding me. So I decided to leave after about 3 years, and I went to San Francisco. At that point in time, Carlo Petrini had written a book called Slow Food Nation. It was in response to Eric Schlosser's Fast Food Nation, describing the way that the nation could be. So what we did is there was this amazing food festival going on, 80,000 people in San Francisco, and as a young person, I organized with my friends, we called it the Youth Food Movement, mimicking off of what was happening in the UK, and we created this big sit-in potluck, this amazing table. We called it an eat-in, a way to demonstrate the way that we wanted to experience the world in food and community and culture. And you know what? The cops came, and we fed them. So it was after Slow Food Nation that I was so inspired, and my twin brother Chris and I, we were asked to represent the United States at Terra Madre 2008. This is kind of like Slow Food's world meeting of the food communities. I call it the United Nations of Food, and it was here at Terra Madre in Torino that I realized that I wanted to come back to the United States, and I wanted to instigate food revolution. So, lo and behold, I discovered the land-grant universities of the United States, and I came back and I found UMass Amherst. So Massachusetts was a land-grant, or UMass was a land-grant of Massachusetts. Each state was given 30,000 acres and the charter to ensure agricultural security in that state. And UMass happened to have a young sustainable food systems degree and the second largest self-operated food service in the country. So what I did is I came back, I got a job at UMass Amherst, I tried to learn how to do these 40,000 meals a day, working in the kitchens there. We even decided we wanted to write a climate action plan to achieve carbon neutrality in food at UMass. And we wrote a food section to this. And in that plan, we designed this garden right here. This is the UMass Permaculture Project. It was designed such that the students are paying to get certified in permaculture, growing the food that goes back to the school at a subsidized cost. And we ended up entering this idea into President Obama's Champions of Change Challenge. And whoa. Way too far. Long story short, how do I get it back? Can you fix it? We ended up winning as the most innovative idea on college campuses in the United States. And the whole team was sent to the White House. But right about that same period of time, my twin brother Chris, he was teaching this health, wellness, and nutrition class for Latinos at risk for obesity in Sequoia High School in Redwood City. He gets a phone call to audition for a private chef job in Greenwich, Connecticut. Now, we think we're going to be on the same coast. I hope he's going to come to UMass with me. But he gets another phone call from the executive chef of Facebook. He says, hey, we're growing fast. We have cafes. We'd like you to come out and audition. So Chris goes back to the West Coast after getting a job offer in Connecticut and says to the chef at Facebook, who gives him a job offer, you know, I'm sorry, I have a better offer in Connecticut. If only I had an identical twin that could cook, I could take both jobs. Which is when I got a phone call. And lo and behold, I get a job out at the Facebook headquarters in California. 1 click, 2 clicks. So this here was my nacho bar. I don't think you can tell, but that there next to me is Katy Perry. I think she liked my nachos. And it was here at Facebook that I discovered the hackathon model. Now, the word hacking, I always thought was a negative word until I realized that at Facebook, it actually meant to create things. The word originated actually after World War II, when the planes would come home all shot up, and they would take hacksaws and hack them apart, and then build them back together in a new way that made that plane fly better. So hacking is really taking something apart and putting it back together. And this is the way that Facebook would launch new apps. They would basically have everybody in all weekend long. We would feed them. They would work. They would come up with new ideas, and that would turn into new teams and new products. So lo and behold, I end up leaving Facebook, and I get into my first hackathon. Now, I had never been to a hackathon. I can't code. I can't design. But I can hustle. So this is my team. We came up with this silly idea for a custom cereal company. This was on a bus in 3 days, and there was 11 buses from all over the United States, and we built this website, a way to customize your cereal, what's in the box and what's on the box, a way to reinvent the Girl Scout cookies in the United States, a way to fundraise for yourself. And lo and behold, I learned the number one most important rule of a hackathon: have fun. We made boxes of cereal, Robert Scobelai's Cinnamon Tech Crunch, Dave McClure's Effin' Flakes, and we actually handed them out all over. I even brought the judges bowls, spoons, and milk, and we served them cereal on stage as we were pitching in this business plan competition. And lo and behold, we ended up winning, accidentally. Voila. I don't know what to do about that, but long story short, I then take this model of the hackathon and I say, what if we were to apply this to the food system? What if we could take these brilliant minds and we could use them to prototype hardware and software solutions to some of these challenges in our food system? Lo and behold, this is me in a carrot costume at the first Food Hackathon. Thank you. I opened up. Why was I in a carrot? I opened up with the line from Paul Cézanne: "One day, a single carrot, freshly observed, will start a revolution." And it was amazing because within 2 weeks, we had 250 people come in from all over the world. We had 5 different countries represented. We had 50% women participation in this, which is unheard of in Silicon Valley. It was so successful that we decided to have another event. We called it the Future of Food Hackathon because, well, we didn't know what the future of food was, and we didn't know what the Future of Food Hackathon was. So when we did it again, 350 people showed up from 15 different countries. We had 150 people on wait list. It was amazing. And what happened was, all of a sudden, in this last 2 years, I've had people come from all around the world and show me their ideas on the future of food. And the question is, what is the future of food? You know, is the future of food astronaut pills? Is the future of food GMOs? Is it CSAs? I think that the future of food, as Nick said, is anything we want it to be. It is what we put in our mouths. It is what we spend money on. The future of food, in many ways, is fast. We have 7 billion people on this planet now, and almost at 9 billion by 2050. We really need to reinvent our food system. Maybe a better question is, what do we want our food system to be? I want to see intelligently designed menus that have resource-efficient proteins. I want to see entrepreneur farms that are growing food entrepreneurs and growing businesses. And I want to see there's amazing startup in New York, and it's a food accelerator. And I heard this story there about this girl. She was a part of a high school class, and they were asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And she said, "When I grow up, I want to fix the food system. Not I want to be an astronaut. I want to fix the food system." So as a man, I believe the future of food really is with the girls. I believe that women's involvement in entrepreneurship is part of a balanced and sustainable future of food. And I'm here to support her and to grow that movement. Thank you.
I can tell you what your future of food is.
Oh, can you?
Some of these.
Oh, why, thank you so much,
Like
Nick
some
Difino.
real food?
Grazie. Clicker. Oh, he's good. Oh, it's so good. Oh, Nick Difino. That's so good. Mm.